Yat kiritinam, yat smaranam, yat ikshanam, yat bandhanam, yat shravanam, yat arhanam. Lokasya sadyo vidunoti kalmasham. Tasmai subhadra shavase namo namaha. Tasmai subhadra shavase namo namaha. Vichakshanaya charanopasadanat. Sangam yudasyobha abhayataha. Antaratmanaha. Vindantihi brahmagatim gataklamaha. Tasmai subhadra shavase namo namaha. Tapasvino dhanaparaha yashasvino manasvino mantravidaha sumangalaha kshemam na vindati vinaya darpanam tasmai subhadra shravase namo namaha. Shriyapatir yajnapatir prajapatir diyampatir lokapatir dharapatihi patirgatascha andakaha vrishnisatvatam prasidatam me bhagavan satam patihi. Shukastuti has to be Sukhastuti. We are in the midst of the glorious conversation between Shuka Brahma and Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit is absorbing every word spoken by Shuka. Shuka's nectarine exposition in the last adhyayas covered the topics of Ashtanga Yoga, more specifically on the topic of Dharana and Dhyana. And Shuka also highlighted the glory of Bhakti Yoga. Parikshit now has a very profound question for which he is seeking answer. Parikshit wants to know all about creation. Therefore, Parikshit asks Shuka as to how Bhagavan creates. How does he go about creating this universe? How does he engage in primary creation? How does he engage in secondary creation? Parikshit's questions are seemingly simple, but the topic is so very profound that Shuka is going to take him through the whole process of creation quite in detail. But before answering the questions, Shuka begins with a prayer, with a stuti to Bhagavan. Because Shuka knows that he is about to talk on a very important topic, not an easy topic to explain. A topic which is shrouded in mystery. A topic that is not easily understood. A topic for which everybody wants to know, but only few are qualified to fully comprehend. Therefore, Shuka himself knows that he needs Bhagavan's blessings. He needs his grace, even to talk about, to explain. After all, it is not within his capacity and capability to explain the glories of the Creator and the process of creation. Therefore, he begins by praying to Bhagavan. In few verses, in the process of praying, Shuka also conveys several important messages to Parikshit. Now, we see one thing very interesting here in this conversation between Shuka and Parikshit. Now, Parikshit is taking the opportunity to fully extract jnana from Shuka. He is using every possible opportunity, every moment he wants to soak in Krishna Rasa. And therefore, he is not allowing Shukha to conclude at all. Shukha's concluded in the last adhyaya by glorifying Bhakti Yoga, but Parikshit wants to continue to listen. This is very important lesson that we learn. Whenever we meet with people who have great knowledge in various subjects, it's very important to engage in a meaningful and purposeful conversation with them. Use the opportunity to extract the knowledge instead of wasting time talking about trivialities. Parikshit knows that he cannot misuse the opportunity that has been presented to him. Shukha has walked up to him, and therefore Parikshit knows he needs to use the opportunity, and therefore he continues his questioning, his inquiry. And Shukha begins to answer with a profound prayer, a stuti to Bhagavan. Yat kirtanam, yat smaranam, yadikshanam. Yat vandanam, yat shavanam, yadarhanam. Lokasya sadyo vidunoti kalmasham. Tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha. Tasmai subhadrashravase. Shukha calls Krishna Subhadrashravase. Subhadrashravase. The gloriously pure, the gloriously auspicious Krishna. He is not ordinarily auspicious, he is gloriously auspicious. He is the peerless, pristine purity personified. Subhadrashravase. What a great nama for Bhagavan. Tasmai Subhadrashravase namo namaha. Prostrations to Bhagavan. Yat kirtanam, yat smaranam, yat ikshanam, yat vandanam, yat shravanam, yat arhanam. By listening to his glories, by constantly remembering about him, by trying to visualize him, by constantly prostrating to him, by constantly singing his glories. Lokasya sadyo vidunoti kalmasham. Lokasya sadyaha vidunoti kalmasham. People, by constantly be staying connected with him, one cleanses one's mind. Lokasya sad vidunoti kalmasham. One purifies one mind. The message here that Shukha gives Parikshit is gratification and purification can go hand in hand only when the object is Krishna. Very important to understand this. Gratification and purification. When the object, when it's a material object, there can be gratification, there can be temporary pleasure, but there cannot be purification. Only when the object is Krishna, both can go hand in hand. Worldly beauty only agitates the mind. Initially, it may seem fascinating, but it will end up frustrating. Worldly beauty may attract, but the attraction will lead to attachment, and that will lead to grief. Worldly beauty will only gratify temporarily, and eventually it will end up dissatisfying. It is only Krishna, when Krishna becomes the object. Lokasya sadyaha vidunoti kalmasham, Shukha says. When Krishna is the object, then it is not only, the experience is not only gratifying, it is also highly purifying. It is only Krishna's beauty that can calm the mind. It is only Krishna's beauty that can fully satisfy and at the same time can cleanse. The more one contemplates in Krishna, the more purity that the mind gets. Tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha. Vichakshanaya charanopasadanat. Sangam yudusya ubhayataha manaha vidantihi brahmagatim gataklamaha tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha. Tasmai subhadrashravase. That gloriously auspicious Krishna, prostrations to him again and again, not once, again and again and again. Namo namaha. Prostrations to him. Vichakshanaya charanopashadanath. Shuka says. Vichakshana. Who are the Vichakshanas? Those who are truly wise. Those who are truly wise, Shuka says, yat charanopashadanath. They are the ones who will take refuge in the holy feet, in the lotus feet of Krishna. Wisdom is to see the miraculous in the common. Wisdom is to see Krishna in everywhere in this universe, to see the miracle, even in it's something common. To see Krishna, to see his miracle, his mysterious hand everywhere, in every event, in every situation. When God sends rain, rain becomes my choice. That is wisdom. To accept everything as Krishna Prasada. Vichakshana is one who knows everything is Krishna Prasada. And more importantly, Shuka gives us here a beautiful formula. He says, Vichakshanaha yat charanopashadhanat. To know the distance, how do we calculate the distance between Bhuloka and Vaikuntha? The distance, the wise know the distance between Bhuloka and Vaikuntha. The distance between the Bhuloka and the Vaikuntha is the distance between my head and Lord's feet. The distance between my head and the Lord's feet is the distance between Bhuloka and Vaikuntha. The farther my head is away from the Lord's feet, the farther the distance. The nearer it is, the nearer the distance. Therefore, the wise truly understand that the only way to attain him is charanopasadhanat. Sangam vidusya ubhayataha antaratmanaha. Also, the wise know, they also know how to detach from not only this worldly pleasures of this world, but also detach themselves from the attractions and the temptations of other worldly pleasures, pleasures of other lokas. Therefore, they do not aspire to go to the other lokas and experience higher pleasures. They only aspire the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Vindantihi brahmagatim gataklamaha. Therefore, they are the ones, when they do not aspire for anything else, they only aspire to reach Paramapada Vaikuntha, they end up attaining it. Why? Because they have completely taken refuge at the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Vichakshanaya charanopasadhanat sangam yudusya ubhayataha antaratmanaha vindantihi brahmagatim gataklamaha tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha. Tapasvino dhanapara yashasvino manasvino mantravidaha sumangalaha kshemam na vindati vinaya darpanam tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha. Tapasvinaha dhanaparaha yashasvinaha manasvinaha mantravidaha sumangalaha. All these, the great Mahatmas, tapasvis, the great tapasvis, those who perform austerities of all kinds and obtain rewards in accordance to their austerities. Dhanapara, those who engage in charity of all kinds and also obtain suitable rewards. Yashasvinaha, those who attain great fame because of the service that they do to Bhagavan's creation. Manasvinaha, those who are always contemplating on him and his glories. Mantravidaha, those who know to chant the glories of Bhagavan, to chant the Vedas thoroughly and properly. Sumangalaha, those who know all the ways and means prescribed in the Vedas. Sukha says, all of them, kshemam na vindati vinaya darpanam. All of them also recognize that the fruits of all their actions are obtained only when their actions are offered to Krishna. They all know that the fruits, the rewards that they obtain are only possible when they are offered as offerings when they offer their very action to Krishna. Tasmai Subhadrashravase Namo Namaha, he says. Shuka gives a very important message here. Deep fulfillment. Deep fulfillment is a byproduct of one's dedication. We all spend time enjoying food. We all spend time watching movies, another entertaining activity, spend time on various other entertainments. These could be moments of pleasure. But we also recognize that these moments, we do not count these moments as life's most fulfilling moments. At best, they are momentary pleasures, but they cannot be considered or counted as life's most fulfilling moments. True fulfillment is experienced only when the mind is absorbed. When the mind is absorbed in doing something creative, when the mind is absorbed in doing something for a higher cause, a cause higher than one's own self. True supreme fulfillment is experienced only when everything is dedicated to the source of the supreme fulfillment, Krishna. Kshemam na vindati vinaya darpanam. Therefore, fulfillment is not a product of gratification of the body, the senses, and the ego. Fulfillment is a byproduct of our dedication to Bhagavan. Kshemam na vindati vinaya darpanam tasmai subhadrashravase namo namaha. Then Shuka goes on. He says, Sayesha atmavatam adhishvaraha trayimayaha dharmamayaha tapomayaha Gatavyalikair ajashankaradivihi vitarkyalingo Bhagavan prasidatam. Bhagavan prasidatam. Hey Bhagavan, bless me. May you be pleased with me. And being pleased with me, bless me with abundance of your grace. Sayesha atmavatam adhishvaraha. You are the supreme soul. And you are adhishvaraha. You are the Lord of all entities. Trayimayaha. You are the Lord of all the Vedas. Dharmamayaha. You are the personification of Dharma. Tapomayaha. You are the very personification of all the austerities. Gatavyalike ajashankaradivihi. Ajaha Shankaraha. Brahma, Maheshwara. They are also astounded by your mysterious nature. He says, Vitakyalingo Bhagavan prasidatam. Being so revered with awe and veneration, I prostrate to you. May you be pleased and may you bless me with abundance. Shriyapatir, Yajnapatir, Prajapatir, Diyampatir, Lokapatir, Dharapatir, Patir Gatischa, Andakaha Vrishnihi Satvatam, Prasidatam me Bhagavan Satam Patihi. Shuka now, specifically, he now brings Krishna completely into his mind. And then he says, may that Krishna, who is Shriyapatihi. Shriyapatitva is the indicator of one who is the Parabrahman. The Vedas, when they start to discover who is that Paramatma, who is that Parabrahma, who is that Purushottama, the unique identifier of that Parabrahman is Shriyapatitva. He is Shriyapati. Therefore, he starts saying he is Shriyapati. He who is Shriyapati, who is Yajnapati, the bestower of all rewards of all the yajnas. He is Shriyapati, he is Yajnapati, he is Prajapati. He is not only bestower of all rewards, he is also the master of all living entities. Diyampati, he is the bestower of jnana, of supreme knowledge. Lokapati, he is of all the lokas, he is the Lord, he is the master of all the lokas. He owns all the lokas. Dharapati, he is not only Lokapati. Dharani, he repeatedly takes avatars in order to protect Dharani. Therefore, he is Dharapati. Patirgatihi. And Patirgatischa Andhaka Vrishni Satvatam. That Shriyapati, that Yajnapati, that Prajapati, that Logapati, that Dharapati, that Dhyampati, took avatara as Krishna. May that Krishna prasidatam me bhagavan satam patihi. May that Krishna, may he prasidatam me, may he be pleased with me, may he bless me. And Shukha, now after praying to Vasudeva, Sri Krishna, now he prays to his own father, his own guru, who is also the avatar of Narayana. He says, Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Papujnanam Ayam Saumya Yanmukam Buruhasavam. Because after all, it is Vyasa's grace that he has got all this treasury that he is passing on to Parikshit. Therefore, Sukha, before going on to answer Parikshit's questions, he also invokes Vyasa and prays to him. He says, Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase. Prostrations to Vyasadeva. Vyasaya Vishnurupaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave. He is none other than Vishnu himself. He is avatara of Vishnu, and he is the one who has compiled all the Vedas and classified, codified them. Vasudevaya Vedase Papurjnanam Ayam Saumya Yanmukam Buharusam. He says, it is the pure devotees drink the nectarine transcendental knowledge that keeps flowing from the lotus-like mouth of Vyasa. Whenever Vyasa opens his mouth, just nectar just flows, and pure devotees drink that nectar. And I had the opportunity, the fortune to drink that nectar, and I'm now going to share that nectar that was passed down to me by that Vyasa. Namastasmai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vedase Papurjnanam Ayam Saumya Yanmukam Buruhasavam. Now he says, Hey Parikshit, let me now answer your questions on creation that you have asked. But let me also tell you, the answers do not just come from Vyasa only. The answers are actually coming. The answers to your questions are the outcome of another conversation. We have seen, and we will continue to see, that Bhagavatam is a treasury of conversations. There are conversations within conversations. All the great supreme jnana is obtained through the various conversations between Mahatmas. Now, Shukha is having a conversation with Parikshit. And now Shukha is referring to another conversation between Brahma and Narada. Therefore, Shukha says, the answers to your questions, if I have to give you complete answers, let me recount to you the conversation between Brahma and Narada. Long ago, Narada was in a confused state. And Narada went to Brahma and said, Brahma, I only know you, Brahma, as the creator. I see you engaging in creation. You, Chaturmukha Brahma, I know you as a creator, but now I do not know any other source of creation. But somehow I see you constantly worshipping, constantly performing austerities. To whom are you performing these austerities? What for? Who is the object of your worship? Who is the real creator? Who is the source of all this creation? I'm very eager to know. And then Narada asks 6 questions to Brahma. Yadrupam yadadishtanam yatasrishtam idam prabhoh yat samstam yat param yatcha tat tattvam vadat tatpataha. Yadrupam yad adishtanam yatasrishtam idam prabhoh yat samstam yat param yatcha tat tattvam vadat tatpataha. Tat tattvam tat vadat tatpataha. I would like to know the reality, the fundamental truth. I would like to know the nature of reality. I would like to know in detail. And he lists down 6 questions. What are the 6 questions? Yadrupam. What is that which manifests this universe? This universe of various names and forms. What is that which manifests this universe? Yad Rupam. Yad Adhishthanam. On what is this universe based? What is its support? What is its shelter? What is its Adhisthana is support, shelter. Yat Adhishthanam. Yatasrishta. How is this universe created? What is its origin? Where did it begin? All this variety of names and forms that we see here, how did this happen? This creation. Yet samstham. How is it conserved? How it is maintained? It looks like it has been there for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So how is it maintained? Who is conserving it? Yet param. Who controls it? Narada knows that this is not a random universe. There is order in this universe. There seems to be an underlying order. There seems to be a schema. There seems to be a structure. Therefore, if there is a schema, if there is an order, if there is a structure, there is a design, there has to be a designer. If there are laws, there has to be a lawmaker. If there is an order, there has to be someone who is sustaining that order and preserving that order. So therefore, who is the controller? Who controls it? Yat param. Yatcha. What is it composed of? What is this universe composed of? So Narada breaks down essentially the same question that Parikshit had. Now Narada is asking with a lot more detail. He's broken down the whole question of creation into 6 parts. Yadrupam, Yadadhishthanam, Yatasrishtam, Yatsamstam, Yatparam, Yatcha. Tat Tattvam Vadat Tattvataha. So Brahma begins to then respond to Narada. Now, this conversation we need to understand is between Brahma and Narada, which happened long time back, which now Shukha is recounting to Parikshit. So now this is Brahma's answer to Narada. Brahma, first and foremost, he begins by answering, and in that process, he also is going to clear Narada's confusion, because Narada is only able to see Brahma, and therefore he doesn't, since he is not able to see the creator who created Brahma, he thinks Brahma is the creator. So therefore, Brahma is now clarifying and also addressing Narada's confusion. In that process, Brahma is going to give answers to all the 6 questions of Narada in detail. So he first starts answering the question, Yadrupam. What is that which manifests this universe? Brahma gives a beautiful answer, very, very profound, at the same time, very simple. Once again, just like how Narada breaks down his question into 6 parts, Brahma also takes it one step at a time and gives a very detailed answer. What is that which manifests this universe? Yadrupam. Brahma answers, Dravyam karmacha kalascha swabhavaha jiva evacha vasudevat paro brahman nachanyaha artha asti tattvataha. He says there are 5 ingredients, 5 components which manifests this universe. The question is, what is that which manifests this universe? So Brahma starts with naming 5 ingredients, 5 components. What are these 5 components? Dravyam, karma, kala, swabhava, jiva. Dravyam, karma cha kalascha, swabhavaha, jiva evacha. Vasudevat paro brahman nachanyaha artha asti tattvataha, he says. So therefore, what are the 5 ingredients? Dravyam. Dravyam is the physical matter, the various physical elements, which are like the building blocks, the building blocks of this universe. Dravya is the matter, the physical elements. Dravyam. Dravyam karma cha. Karma. The second ingredient he talks of is karma. Karma is the creative force, the causal factor for the creation of the various names and forms, the various material bodies. Kala, time. Kala is the framework of all experiences. Swabhava is nature. The nature which is the cause of constant change. Jiva is the sentient principle. The Jivatma, the individual souls. So these are the 5 ingredients which manifest this universe. Now, what is important here is Brahma clarifies, Vasudevat paro brahman na chanyaha artaha asti tattvataha. Says, none of these 5 have a separate, independent existence. They are totally dependent on Vasudeva. They do not have an independent existence of their own. So what Brahma here is explaining, he is giving a very detailed account on how Prakriti, which is the physical matter, which is the insentient principle, the Achittatva, Achit, insentient, Chit, sentient. This universe is nothing but coming together of these 2 principles. Chittatva, Achittatva. Now, he gives a little bit more detail here. He says, he now breaks down the Achittatva. Now, the Chittattva, which is nothing but all the individual souls. Now, talking about the Achittatva, he says, Dravyaha, Dravyam, Karma, Kala, Swabhava. Now, he details how this interplay between the Chittattva and Achittatva are happening. How the Jivatmas are all brought together with the various components which are all insentient. Dravyam are the physical elements. Bhuta bhavod bhavakaraha visargaha karma sangitaha, Krishna says in the Gita. Now here karma, how do we understand karma? Which is an ingredient, that is part of what manifests as the universe. Bhuta bhavod bhavakaraha visargaha karma sammitaha. What is karma? It is the creative force, the causal factor for creation, which is nothing but karma is the causal factor. What is the causal factor? Karma is responsible for the variety that we see in the names and forms. All the various material bodies that are created, they are in accordance to karma. Now, creation, if we have to understand using terminology of science, is nothing but transformation of potential energy to kinetic energy. Potential energy, which is latent, when it transforms, becomes kinetic energy. What is potential energy? Potential energy is nothing but the samskaras, all the vasanas. When the potential energy transforms into kinetic energy, the samskaras, which means the samskaras, the vasanas are sukshma sarira, karana sharira. Karana sharira, subtle body. Sukshma sharira, which is nothing but all the vasanas, all the baggage of karma. When this transforms into stula sharira, gross body, that is the causal force of karma. That is the creation of all the names and forms. So basically, Bhagavan, when he creates various kinds of configurations, various material bodies, he does not create them arbitrarily. Every form and name is based on a certain specific set of karma vasanas. So therefore, the causal factor Bhuta bhavod bhavakaraha visargaha karma samnitaha. So therefore, one of the factors which is responsible for all the differences that we see in terms of names and forms is karma. It is the individual karma. Therefore, when a jivatma acquires a body, the type of the body, the nature of the body, the shape, the size, the color, the configuration is determined by the karma that the jivatma carries. It is in accordance to the karma that the jivatma acquires a specific type of a body. So therefore, karma is one of the 5 ingredients which go into manifesting this universe. So it is karma, the force of karma, together with dravya. Dravya are the physical elements. Later on, we are going to see what these physical elements are. They are the fundamental physical blocks. Together with swabhava. What is swabhava? Swabhava is that ingredient which subjects dravyam, matter, to constantly change and evolve. Because matter does not remain in one state. It keeps changing. The swabhava of matter, the swabhava of prakriti is to keep constantly changing. It keeps evolving from one state to the other. Therefore, this swabhava is the ingredient which subjects dravya to keep constantly changing. And then kala. And where is this change happening? This change is happening in the framework of what is called time. Because in this creation is governed by the framework of kala, time. Every experience happens in this framework. So it's the framework of all experiences, because every experience has a beginning, has an end. So time is nothing but series of experiences. So therefore, the framework of all experiences is kala. So jivatma samuha together with dravya, karma, swabhava and kala all together manifest. And this is all these manifest into this universe. Now, how do they do? Do they do by themselves? That is why Shuka very clearly clarifies. Vasudevat paro brahman nachanyaha artaha asti tattvataha. They are not independent. They are totally dependent. It is because of his will, his sankalpa alone, that this process of manifestation happens. The dravya are his property. The prakriti is his lower energy. It is his property, and it completely belongs to him and is ruled by him. Karma, the creative force, again, the law of karma is set by the lawgiver. He is the karma paladata. So therefore, he is the one who ordains the laws and ensures that the law continues to operate. Kala is nothing but his own manifestation. Kalosmihi lokakshaya krit pravruddha. Krishna categorically says, Kala is nothing but his own manifestation. And swabhava, the nature of change, it's not random change. Everything that is happening, there is an order. There is an underlying order. There is a design, and there is an intelligent designer underlying the design. There is no randomness whatsoever. Therefore, the swabhava, the changes are also because of his sankalpa, his will. Everything operates as per his will. So therefore, all of the five, and jiva is completely subservient to him. Jivatma is a part of the Paramatma. There is no separate existence. Bhagavan is the Amshi, the Jivatma is the Amsha. Bhagavan is the Sarvaseshi, Jivatma is the Sesha. Bhagavan is the Shariri, Jivatma is the Sharira. So therefore, there is an inseparable relationship between the Jivatma and the Paramatma, and the Dravya, Kala, Karma, Swabhava are all controlled, ordained, and operated by him, and therefore they have no separate independent existence, Shuka says. So thus, to the question, Yat Rupam, what is that which manifests this universe? Brahma clarifies. These are the 5 ingredients, the 5 components which manifest as this universe, which consists of a variety of names and forms. Having answered the question, Yad Rupam, now Brahma goes on to answer the next 2 questions. Yad Adhishtanam, Yad Param. What is the universe based? What is the support and shelter of this universe? And Yat Param, what controls the universe? Brahma beautifully answers. Brahma says, Narayana para Veda, Deva Narayana Angajaha, Narayana para Loka, Narayana para Makha, Narayana paro Yoga, Narayana parantapa, Narayana param Jnanam, Narayana paragati. He says, Narayana para Veda. The Vedas all exist, owe their existence only to him. Deva Narayanangajaha, all the devatas, every deity, all forms, all manifestations are all his angas. He is the Angi. He is that whole, WHOLE, and that and all belong to him. They're all angas of that Angi. Deva Narayanangajaha. Narayana Paraloka. All the lokas are created and exist only for him. Narayana Paramaka. All the various sacrifices, the worship that is done is only for him. Narayana Parayoga. All the various sadhanas that the Vedas describe are only to realize him. Narayana Param Tapaha. All the austerities are performed only to know him. Narayana Param Jnanam. He is the one who is the end, the objective of everything that is to be known. Narayana Param Gatihi. He is the one who is to be attained. Moksha ultimately is only to attain him and nothing else. Therefore, what is the universe based on? What does it support? In one word, Narayanaha. What controls the universe? In one word, Narayanaha. And then Brahma further clarifies. You need to understand that I am involved, engaged in Vyashti Srishti, individual creation. But I am doing this work of creation with his grace, under his supervision. Tasyapi drashtur ishasya kutastas akilatmanaha shrijam shrishtoham ikshayeva bhichoditaha. It is, I am engaged in this creation, the work of doing individual creation on a day-to-day basis, based on his will, based on his supervision, based on his grace. Inspired by him, I create. It is the mission that I am carrying out based on his command, he says. And then Brahma further goes on. Sattvam rajas tamayiti nirgunasya gunastrayah sthiti sarga nirdoshaha grihita mayaya vibho. Now he's getting into the detail of the process of creation. Now he's talked about the 5 ingredients, the 5 components at a high level. Now he is taking it to the next level of detail. He says, Sattvam rajas tamayiti nirgunasya gunastrayah sthiti sargaha nirodeshaha grihita mayaya vibho. He says, Bhagavan, who is beyond the 3 gunas, akilaheya pratyanika. He is completely blemishless. He is totally blemishless. He is not under the sway of the 3 gunas of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. The one who is beyond the 3 gunas of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, who is totally blemishless, Nirgunasya gunastrayah. He engages Prakriti, which is made up of the 3 gunas of Sattva, Rajas, Tamayiti. Sattva, Rajas, Tamayiti, Nirgunasya gunastrayah. Sthiti sarga nirodhesha. Sthiti, maintenance. Sargaha, emanation, manifestation of this universe. Nirodheshu, dissolution of this universe, which is a cycle. Emanation, manifestation, and dissolution are basically one cycle, continuously keeps going on. And therefore, he says, how does Bhagavan engage in this creation or emanation, dissolution, and the maintenance? He says he does this by using Prakriti, which is made up of the three gunas of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Krishna in the Gita declares Sattvam Rajas Tamai Sattvam Sukhe Sanjayati Rajah Karmani Bharata Jnanamavartyatu Tamaha Pramade Sanjayatyuta. How the three gunas bind the jiva to this created world of samsara. Sattvam Sukhe Sanjayati. Rajas Sattva binds the jiva to material happiness. Rajah Karmani Bharata. Rajas binds the jiva to action. Jnanamavartyatu tamaha pramade sanjayatyuta. Tamas binds the jiva to delusion, to ignorance. Therefore, the jiva, through the gunas, the jiva is controlled by, and these gunas bind the jiva to the cycle of samsara. So Brahma says, Karya Karana Kartrutve Dravya Jnana Kriyashrayaha Bhadnati Nityada Muktam Mayinam Purusham Gunaha. Mayinam Purusham Gunaha. Now, Maya here is Prakriti. With Prakriti binds the jiva. The Prakriti, how does it bind? Through the three gunas of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Karya Karana Kartrutve Dravya Jnana Kriyashrayaha. Dravya, Jnana, Kriya. All these three stands for Tamas, Sattva, and Rajas. Dravya is Tamas. Jnana here stands for Sattva. Kriya stands for Rajas. Dravya Jnana Kriyashrayaha. Tamas is wheeling in nature. Sattva is revealing in nature. Rajas is fueling in nature. Rajas fuels actions. Tamas wheels one's nature with ignorance. Sattva reveals true nature. So therefore, employing all these three, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, Karya Karana Kartrutve. Here, Karya and Karana, the gunas are Karana, the body and the Indriyas are Karya. Because the body, the physical body, the Indriyas, the sense organs, the mind and intellect are all products of gunas. So therefore, by deploying Prakriti made up of three gunas, which produces various kinds of material bodies made up of the three gunas, Bhagavan brings every Jivatma with a particular type of a body based on the karma of the Jiva, bringing them together. And then when the Jiva comes in association with this Prakriti made of three gunas, the three gunas binds the Jiva in the cycle of samsara, he says. And that's how the cycle of samsara goes on because of the binding nature of three gunas. Sayesha Bhagavan Lingaihi Tribiryeteir Adhokshajat Swalakshita Gatir Brahman Sarvesham Mamacha Ishwaraha. He is the one. Mamacha Ishwara, he is the my Lord. He is the one who, based on whose command, everything is being created, including me. I am also created by him. And he is the one who is beyond the perceiving capabilities of our senses, but we can still know him, infer him through his mysterious interplay, which is what this universe is all about. No, the message here is the mystery of this universe is not a problem to be solved. It is a reality to be experienced. And in experiencing this reality of this interplay of these gunas, Brahma says one needs to slowly start to understand the one who controls the three gunas. If I need to get out of the control of the three gunas, I need to know the one who controls these three gunas. I need only when I know the controller of the gunas, then I can get out of the control of the three gunas. And then Brahma gives a detailed account of the process of creation. Yata srishtam. Yatasrishtam, how the physical creation happens. This is the Samashti Srishti, the aggregate creation. He talked about the five primary ingredients. Now, from this five primary ingredients, how does this manifestation, how all the names and forms that we see, how do the building blocks, how do they manifest first? So he first talks about the primary building blocks, how they are created. Kalam karma svabhavam cha mayesho mayaya swaya atman yadrichaya praptam vibhushur upadade kalad gunavyatikaraha parinamaha svabhavataha karmano janma mahataha purushat adhishtitat abhut mahatastu vikurvanat rajaha sattvopa abhrimattat tamaha pradhanastvam abhavat dravyajnana kriyatmakaha. So ahankara iti proktaha vikurvan samabhut drida vaikarikas taijasascha tamasascheti yadvida dravyashakti kriyashakti jnanashakti iti prabho. Now he is detailing the whole process of creation. Need a little bit of an attention here to understand what Brahma is trying to give. Is giving a very scientific way of understanding creation that happens from the very source. He says the very source, Kala, Karma, Swabhava. Kala is time. Karma is the creative force which is responsible for the creation of the various material configurations. Swabhava is the change, which subjects Dravya to change. So therefore, Brahma says Dravya, the physical matter, is infused with Kala, Karma and Swabhava based on Bhagavan's will. Narayana wills with his Sankalpa the core of Dravya, which is Pradhana, which is what is called Mula Prakriti. Mula Prakriti is made up of the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Before creation, the three gunas are in equilibrium, in a state of equilibrium, which means everything is in a latent stage. There are no names, no forms. Everything is in a subtle state, without forms, without names. In this subtle state, the three gunas are in a state of equilibrium. When Bhagavan wills, the Upanishad says, Sokamayata, Bahusyam Prajayeti. So when he wants to start the process of manifestation, of creating many names and forms, Narayana wills with his Sankalpa, Kala, Karma, Swabhava, the three ingredients that we saw, are infused in Dravya, which means the three gunas now come into a state of the equilibrium is disturbed. When the equilibrium is disturbed, Pradhana, Mula Prakriti starts to evolve and transform. The first stage of transformation happens. The first stage of transformation is where Mula Prakriti transforms, when the three gunas are in a disturbed state because of the will of Bhagavan, infused with Kala, Karma and Swabhava. Mula Prakriti transforms into what is called Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva is the first state that evolves out of Mula Prakriti, which is Dravya. Mahat Tattva then, with the will of Bhagavan and under the influence of Kala, time, Karma, the creative force, and Swabhava, then transforms into Ahankara. Ahankara has three individual components. The three individual components of Ahankara: Sattvika Ahankara, Rajasika Ahankara, Tamasa Ahankara. The Tamasa Ahankara and Sattvika Ahankara start to further evolve. Now, this Ahankara also has three forces. This is what Brahma calls Tri Shakti: Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Dravya Shakti. Kriya Shakti is responsible for the emanation of various senses and sense organs. Dravya Shakti is responsible for the emanation of various physical elements which constitute the fundamental building blocks of the physical world. Jnana Shakti is responsible for the emanation of mind, manas and buddhi tattvas. Now, from ahankara tattva, which is tamas ahankara tattva, all the karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, the 5 karmendriyas, the 5 jnanendriyas. Jnanendriyas are the sense organs, organs of senses, organs of perception. Karmendriyas are organs of action. They are all created. From tamasa ahankara, then, which is the Dravya Shakti, with the help of Dravya Shakti, tamasa ahankara then starts to evolve. And it is from tamasa ahankara the tanmatras and the panchabhutas emanate, which are the fundamental building blocks of this material universe. From tamasa ahankara, with the help of Dravya Shakti, under the influence of Kala, Karma, Swabhava, with the will of Narayana, emanates Shabda Tanmatra. From Shabda Tanmatra, then Shabda Tanmatra becomes the quality of the first element of the Bhuta, of the Panchabhutas, which is the Akasha Tattva. From Shabda Tattva, Akasha Tattva is formed. Akasha Tattva therefore has Shabda has its quality. From Akasha Tattva emanates Sparsha. Sparsha becomes the quality of the next Bhuta which is created, which is Vayu. Akashat Vayuhu. Therefore, Vayu has 2 qualities of Shabda and Sparsha. From Vayu, then emanates Rupa Tanmatra. Rupa Tanmatra together with Vayu then result in the emanation of Agni. Agni therefore has the qualities of Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa. From Agni emanates the Tanmatra of Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa. Rasa Tanmatra together with Agni results in what is the Tattva of Apaha. Therefore, Apa has the qualities of Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa. From Apa emanates Gandha Tanmatra. Gandha Tanmatra together with Apa creates Prithvi. Therefore, the 5 Panchabhutas, Akasha, Vayu, Agnihi, Akasha, Vayuhu, Vayor, Agnihi, Agnerapah, Adhyap, Prithvi, 5 bhutas, and the 5 tanmatras, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Tanmatras happen to be the quality of the Panchabhutas. So thus, the emanation of the building blocks, which we see, these building blocks are manifesting from a subtle state to grosser state. Akasha is subtlest of all the 5 bhutas, the Panchabhutas. From Akasha, compared to Akasha, Vayu is more gross than Akasha. Compared to Vayu, Agni is grosser. Compared to Agni, Apaha is lot more gross, and Prithvi is the grossest. Akasha is the subtlest. We see how the building blocks emanate from the subtlest of the subtle to the grossest of the gross. Thus, the Panchabhutas are created, the Panchatanmatras are created. The Panchatanmatras together with the Panchabhutas emanate from the Tamasika Ahankara. On the other hand, in parallel, the Karmendriyas and Jnanendriyas and the Manas Tattva are also created. Now, all the various ingredients that are needed, the fundamental building blocks that are needed are all created. This is all part of what is called aggregate creation, Samashti Srishti. Now, individuals are not yet created. These are all only building blocks, still at a level which is not enough. They are not yet bricks to start construction. They are still, bricks are still to be made. From these elements, then further building blocks are then created, out of which then the whole Brahmanda is created. The Brahmanda consisting of all the lokas in order to house the various kinds of entities that will also come forth into existence. And when this Brahmanda is created, then the task is then given for the beginning of the mission of Vyashti Srishti, which is the individual creation. Individual creation is nothing but creation of various kinds of individual entities. Deva, Manushya, Tiryak, Stavara, Jangama, all kinds of the higher, lower species that will be eventually created, which will be housed in this physical world of matter that is already created as part of the Samashti Srishti. After having explained how the answer to Yatasrishtam, how the creation happens, what is the origin, Brahma also says, now that all the fundamental building blocks are created, with this building blocks, the Brahmanda is created of all the lokas. And then he says how this Brahmanda is created, because Bhagavan, all this is not happening in a sequence. We need to understand this. It is not just, everything is happening in a serial mode. We are only looking at this as in a serial mode for our own understanding. All of this is happening instantaneously with the will of Bhagavan. Kala, karma, and swabhava, all are subject. Whatever is happening now, all the emanations, the manifestations that are happening are subject to three forces of Kala, karma, swabhava. Time, karma, the creative force, swabhava, that which is the cause for the changes that are happening, and of course, Bhagavan's sankalpa. And Bhagavan is in the process of this creation, is also permeating and pervading this creation. And when he permeates and pervades this creation, and when this Brahmanda is created, every part of this Brahmanda is his Anga. He is the Angi, and every other part is the part which belongs to him. He is the Virata Purusha, and everything belongs to him. And therefore, Brahma now goes on to explain the characteristics of that Virata Purusha, to visualize that Purushottama, which also is gloriously explained in the Purusha Sukta. In order to experience the glory of that Purushottama, which Brahma explains as per the Purusha Sukta, we need to wait until next week. Until then, let us continue to contemplate on this glorious process of creation and how Bhagavan effortlessly creates, which is nothing but his Leela. He does this in order to create an arena for all the jivas to expend their karma, and eventually, knowing that they are under the control of the three gunas, try to discover the original controller, and in that process of discovery of the original controller, can gain total freedom from the control of the three gunas and attain the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.